common. Rather, over a past decade, these TB infections are on the rise. It is because of HIV. 10 million patients are co-infected in the world, and TB is most common opportunistic infection in HIV and the first cause of mortality in HIV infected individuals, and it is up to 10 to 30%. So it is a double trouble, TB as well as HIV together. Now let us come to the testing, diagnosis options for HIV. Now, although the HIV testing capabilities have increased since the time of this discovery, since 1980s, therefore we are able to detect very early and learn about the HIV status. But the majority of the people with HIV are still unaware that they are infected. One particular point which I would like to mention here is the window period. What is window period? It is a period between the onset of HIV infection and the appearance of detectable antibodies to the viruses. I use the word detectable antibodies. That is the development of antibodies against HIV virus in the host's blood, in the host body. That particular time period, that is the exposure to the HIV virus, that is infection, exposure to infection, and the development of first detectable antibodies. Till then, there is no way by which one can detect whether the person is having HIV or not. That period is known as a window period, and this period is between 4 to 6 weeks. This is very dangerous in the sense that the individual himself does not know that he is infected, and individual itself is a highly infectious. As a result, he may unknowingly infect the other individuals. Now, if we come to the different types of testing, one thing you have to be sure is at present there is an anonymous testing that has been introduced. It has been introduced because people are shy of going to the hospital and getting themselves checked for HIV status. So let me assure you that anonymous testing includes that there will not be any naming on the slip or in the card. They are given the unique identifying number, and the results are not issued to other people. It is only issued to the test recipient. Then blood testing. HIV can be tested by various other tests, which includes HIV enzyme link immunosorbent assay, ELISA. Then we have a Western blot. Then HIV rapid antibody testing. We also have the ability to count absolute CD4 lymphocyte count and HIV viral load test. All these methods, specifically ELISA and Western blot techniques, they are very accurate, highly accurate, and they have a specificity up to 99.9%. Specifically, Western blot, when it is combined with the HIV ELISA test, you get a confirmation up to 99.9%. Even HIV can be detected by urine testing, that is urine Western blot. It is an in vitro qualitative assay for the detection and identification of the antibodies against human immunodeficiency virus type 1, HIV-1. Because whenever there is an infection, human being will develop antibodies, that is a protein, against this particular virus, and this can be easily checked by Western blot technique, as this protein is excreted in urine. It is a very sensitive blood testing method. It's a safe way to screen the HIV also. Then there is another test which is known as a oral testing. It is named as a OraSure. This is the only FDA approved HIV antibody testing method, and it is as accurate as any other blood testing technique. Here the blood is derived from the gums, that is the fluid from the gums. It is not a saliva test. All of you should understand, though it is named as a oral testing, it is performed from the blood which is derived from the gums of the mouth. Hence, it is not a testing of a saliva. It is known as OraSure test. Now coming to the treatment options. The treatment options are collectively known as HAART, highly active antiretroviral treatment, and these have the four common mechanisms. The first one, it prevents the virus to fuse to the host membrane, that is the attachment, and we call them as a fusion inhibitors. Second one is the nucleoside or nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Third includes non-nucleoside reverse transcript inhibitors. So basically, virus first of all transcribes the RNA into DNA by reverse transcriptase enzyme, and the drugs will act here. And last one is a protease inhibitors, because when the virus multiplies in the host cell, it will develop various kinds of proteins, and these can be inhibited. These are known as antiretroviral drugs, and in short, it is known as highly active antiretroviral treatment procedures. Examples are zidovudine, Viramune, and ritonavir. These drugs are highly effective, and as you can see in the graph, since 1998, when these drugs were discovered, the mortality rate has been reduced significantly. So these drugs are widely used at present. Now, it is also necessary to carry out the health care follow-up of HIV infected individuals. Now, this is very common, or it is commonly laid down procedure for all HIV infected individuals. One has to undergo, those who have been identified as HIV infected individuals or people living with HIV, PLHIV, then they have to undergo CD4 counts every 3 to 6 months. Then they have to perform viral load test every 3 to 6 months. They have to take PPD for checking of tuberculosis. Isoniazid for those individuals which have a positive PPD, they are given the treatment of isoniazid. They are started with the particular treatment. RPR or VDRL test for syphilis is regularly done. Then toxoplasma IgG serology is done. Then cytomegalovirus IgG serology is done. Pneumococcal vaccine is given. Influenza vaccine is given in a season of an influenza. Hepatitis B vaccine is given for those who are HB negative. Haemophilus influenzae type B vaccination is given. And Pepanicle serum smears, they are done every 6 months for women. Why these tests are done? Why this particular setup is made for the HIV individuals? It is because of the reason that these individuals are prone to infections, and all precautions have to be taken that they are not suffering from the disease, or during a epidemic of a particular disease, say for example influenza, they have to be immunized with those particular kinds of vaccines. Okay, now what are the methods of prevention? Primary preventions are done by protecting yourself in 5 different ways. First one is abstinence, then monogamous relationship, protected sex, sterile needles, and new shaving or cutting blades. Abstinence means it is the most effective methods for not acquiring HIV or AIDS, because as we have earlier discussed, it is transmitted through body fluids, and one of them is semen. So refraining from unprotected sex, either oral, anal or vaginal, will prevent the HIV infection. Refraining from intravenous drug use also is known as abstinence. Monogamous relationship. Mutually monogamous relationship with a person who is not infected with HIV is to be maintained. Or HIV testing before intercourse is necessary to prove that the partner is not infected. Then, if at all it is necessary, then you have to take a precautions, that is for protected sex. Use condoms every time you have a sex, and use a latex barrier during oral sex. There are certain precautions which one has to take during using a condom. Now, if we talk about in brief AIDS in India, then we can say that at present there are 2.4 million people living with AIDS. That is 0.3% of the total population around the world suffering from AIDS. 0.3% is in India. In India, National AIDS Control Organization, NACO, it has recorded a 57% drop in the number of new HIV infections during the last decade. So NACO is doing a very good work at present. However, the HIV prevalence at a national level continued at a steady decline. At present, there has been decrease, and this decrease is, say for example, when we talk about the HIV prevalence rate, it was in 2001 0.4%, in 2006 it was 0.35%, and last year it was 0.27%. So there is a significant decrease in HIV. However, this particular map indicates that certain states in India have a higher incidences, specifically Andhra Pradesh, then West Bengal, Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland, Maharashtra, Karnataka. These states have a higher incidences of HIV. India is considered to home of the world's third largest population suffering from HIV. However, according to the prevalence rate, it is 89th in the number, and the prevalence rate is very low as compared to other developed countries. So now lastly, to sum up what we can do. We can reduce the sexual transmission of HIV, prevent mothers from dying and babies from becoming HIV infected, ensure that HIV infected individuals, they receive a proper treatment, prevent people living with HIV from dying of tuberculosis, prevent drug users from becoming infected with HIV. Then we should remove punitive laws, policies, practices, stigma and discrimination that block the effective response to HIV/AIDS, stop violence against women and girls, empower young people to protect themselves from HIV, and enhance social protection for the people affected by HIV. Basically, these are the 9 important points which have to be stressed, and these points were discussed at UN AIDS, and this is an outcome of the UN AIDS meeting in 2009-2011. These are the 9 priorities areas where what we can contribute. World AIDS Day is celebrated. Remember, it is celebrated every 1st December. And the symbol of AIDS is a red ribbon. This red ribbon project was created by New York-based visual AIDS artist Cucus in 1991. Why this particular color red was chosen? Because the red is connected to blood, and it is also an idea of passion. Either the passion can be anger or it can be love, like a Valentine. So it is represented by a red ribbon. This slide, it is how we can stop HIV and prevent AIDS by joining hands with one another. So let us go an extra mile to spread the word against HIV AIDS, and let us make it possible. So let us walk towards it. This slide indicates the left hand one. I have AIDS, please hug me. So don't run away from AIDS patient. As I have told you various myths about the AIDS. So patient with AIDS, if you embrace them, you won't get sick. So it is, a boy is shouting, I can't make you sick. So I have AIDS, please hug me. And on the right hand side, you can see various cadets of NCC which are spreading the message of use condoms to prevent HIV. This is the last one where even the Indian government spreads the awareness by starting a special train that is known as Red Ribbon Express. It has all the materials which or the train goes to every station, every city, and the mass or the citizens can enter into it, see them, and take the message home. How the AIDS is transmitted, how we can stop them. So, last but not the least, my advice to you is know your HIV status. So, everyone should know their HIV status. Thank you very much. If you have any doubts, you can come up. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the Department of Higher Education and the Bisect Studio for their help and coordination in delivering this lecture in Gujarat. Thank you very much.
SANDHAN, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.